This is Embodied Success, the podcast, where we explore topics that help to balance your mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual well-being. With these four elements interacting in harmony, we can experience joy in both our career and personal lives. This is Embodied Success. Hello and welcome to Embodied Success, the podcast. This is your host, Sarah Ann Ferguson, somatic practitioner and quantum living mentor. And today we are going to be talking about authenticity and the law of rhythm. So today's episode was inspired by a reel I saw on Instagram, and it was by this fellow called David Bedrick. He is an author, a teacher, and an UnShaming attorney. And he teaches people how to create a life free of shame. And in this reel, he talks about the problem of this idea of how we all need to get into balance. And it just sort of blew my mind. So I'll play the reel and then we'll talk about it.
I'm really bothered by the idea that people ought to be balanced. That's because many people are creative types, so their energy comes in big spurts and then it drops down into rests. And many people have energy like a wave. It comes in a big arc that goes up and then it goes down. And both of those creative projects and those arcs can happen over days or weeks or even months of high energy and months of low energy. And if you pathologize that, think something's wrong with me, I need to be regulated, I need to be balanced, the person is going to injure themselves to go against their own nature. And second, I can't tell you how many times I work with somebody who says they need to be balanced. They're unbalanced. And I say, what's it like when you're unbalanced? That question they're not asking. And they say, well, I'm angry, or I'm down, or I'm anxious, or I'm too intense. And those are always energies that they don't know how to get along with. They're outside their comfort zone, and they need some unshaming around that, not to be balanced.
He's right. He's totally right. And why this is so important and why I felt so compelled to do an episode based on this perspective is because I have built this entire business around this idea of getting into balance in our emotional, our physical, our mental, and our spiritual well-being. And so seeing it from the side really has gotten me thinking. And since this time of self-development and this journey that I've been on, I have experienced these low periods. And there is the voice of shame that comes in and says, Sarah, you know what it feels like to be blissful and positive and taking action and everything's great. Like, why do you have to feel like this? You shouldn't feel like this, and that, like David is saying, it's not natural for us to be balanced all of the time. And honoring these periods of up and down is really what we should be aiming for. So this episode is going to be talking about authenticity and the law of rhythm, because what's really going on here with these ups and downs and these ebbs and flows of our energy and our creativity and our moods and emotions, it's the natural law of rhythm. And being in balance all the time, or striving to be in balance all the time, is not natural. So when I talk about getting into balance in these different dimensions of ourselves, it's really more about stripping away the layers of our conditioning so that underneath all of that is our authentic self. And once we strip away these layers of our conditioning, we are then able to access what's out there in the quantum field waiting for us. So basically, what the natural law of rhythm says is that everything in the universe has a natural cycle of ebb and flow. And if you think about it, there's night and day. You know, the moon comes up and the moon goes down. The sun comes up, the sun goes down. The waves, they come in, they come out. And just like the natural flow of things in the universe, we are the same. Women have menstrual cycles, and we might have seasons the way that there are seasons. There's spring, summer, fall, and winter. And so we want to honor these periods that we're not taking action and feeling full of enthusiasm and creativity without shaming ourselves. That's really what David's getting at. I mean, life is inherently cyclical. And these periods of high energy and productivity that are followed by rest and reflection are natural, and they're okay. And accepting this natural flow and will then help us become more attuned with our authentic self, and we can respond to our needs without judgment. And so by understanding that these lows are as natural as highs, we're less likely to shame ourselves for needing rest or experiencing down periods where we don't feel great. Instead, we go with the flow and we don't resist. And instead of forcing ourselves into these rigid societal expectations or doing things based on what our conditioning tells us we should do, we'll become more in tune with our personal rhythms and make decisions based on our genuine desires and values. So when we move and flow with our personal rhythms, the law of rhythms, that to me is what I'm talking about when I say getting ourselves into balance with our mental, our emotional, our physical, and our spiritual well-being. And based on this reel, I'm probably going to change the wording in this business. I might go around and take out the word balance from my copywriting, because I do want to honor this acceptance of the natural flow of things. So getting into balance with our emotions, the idea is doing things that can tone our nervous system and make it more resilient to times of stress. And so that's not saying we're going to tone our nervous system so that it's always balanced. Because even if you do this work that helps to regulate your nervous system, you still will have periods of dysregulation, and that's okay. It's how you deal with that period of dysregulation, and how you let yourself know, let your nervous system know it's safe afterwards. And so that's emotional. And physically getting into balance. Now that looks different for all of us. What is physically balanced for someone is completely different for someone else. So it's not aiming for this perfect balanced level of fitness and wellness in the body that is a one size fits all. It's more of doing what feels good for your body, where your body's at. You know, it could be, you could be someone who doesn't have a lot of movement in a particular part of your body. So just being able to do something, lifting something is you getting more into balance in that dimension of your body. So yeah, the word balance, again, this is maybe why reframing this idea of balance. So there's no shame, because there's no one size fits all. It's this law of rhythm, and we're all made up differently. And so when we think about mentally getting into balance, now what does that look like? Different for everyone again. Someone who has a positive mindset, someone else, their positive mindset might look totally different from the other person's positive mindset. But it's a spectrum. And lastly, spiritually getting into balance. Spirituality is it's such a big journey, and there's so many different variations of where you could be at on your spiritual journey. Just being able to sit in silence and meditate is getting into balance in that dimension. So there's no one size fits all for this. So yeah, that's why I've found this perspective that David has on this idea of getting into balance so mind-blowing for me, because it really does change the way you look at this. Okay, so moving on, I have put together a 6-step process that will help you to get in tune with your natural cycles and feel into these natural rhythms, the ups and downs, without judgment. And so the first one is to acknowledge the natural cycles. So begin recognizing and accepting that life has cycles of highs and lows. And this can be in terms of energy, emotions, productivity, motivation, creativity. And take that and reflect on your past experiences and identify any patterns in your energy and your mood, and journal about these observations to become more aware of your own personal rhythms. So that's step 1. And step 2 is to cultivate self-compassion. So practice self-compassion, especially during low energy or challenging periods. And it's crucial to understand that these times are part of the natural cycle. And when you notice these self-critical thoughts that go, get up, do more, get more into balance, gently remind yourself that it's okay to have ups and downs. It's totally natural. And use affirmations like, it's okay to rest, or I'm human and it's natural for me to have fluctuations. Okay, step 3 is to listen to your body and your mind. And so pay attention to your physical and emotional signals. Your body and mind know when you need rest, and it will tell you. And it knows when you have capacity for productivity. You'll feel it. You'll say to yourself, oh, I want to write that down, or I want to go do that painting, or write that song, or play that song. It'll just listen, feel into what your physical and emotional signals are. And set aside a few minutes each day to check in with yourself and ask yourself questions like, how am I feeling today? And what do I need right now? And honor these needs without judgment, without shame. Okay, step 4 is to create a flexible routine. So develop a daily routine that allows for flexibility and helps you to balance productivity with rest and adapt to your natural rhythms. So plan your day with periods for work, rest, and self-care. And I know that sounds in today's society with a 9 to 5 schedule, it's not really designed for that. But do as much as you can with what you're working with, and allow yourself the freedom to adjust your schedule based on your energy levels and your needs. And if you have low energy, try and swap a high demand task with a restorative activity. Okay, step 5 is embrace periods of rest and activity. So embrace both the active and the restful periods, and know that they are equally as valuable. And this when you look at this from a human design perspective, these periods of rest or these periods of waiting are getting up the energy for your next big expansion. So if you're burning yourself out trying to always be active, these expansive periods will not be as expansive, or it will feel harder. So just recognize that rest is essential for this renewal and this creativity for what's next. And during your active periods, engage fully in your tasks and projects. Recognize, I'm active right now, let's get things done. And so that during your rest periods, you can focus on activities that rejuvenate you. Things like meditation, reading, spending time in nature. And avoid feeling guilty or shaming yourself about taking the time to rest. And the last step is to reflect and adjust regularly. So regularly reflect on your experiences and adjust your approach as needed. This will ensure that you stay in tune with your evolving rhythms and needs. And at the end of each week, take some time to reflect on what worked well and what didn't. And try and adjust your routines and practices based on these reflections. So celebrate your progress and be kind to yourself for any setbacks. So that's your 6-step process to embracing the law of rhythm in your life so you can accept your authentic self. So it's not about achieving this level of balance, this one size fits all get into balance. It's more about honoring you, honoring your authenticity, and moving with the ebbs and flows of your life, of your energy, of your mood, and not shaming yourself for feeling a certain way. If you have felt like you've been in a down period for months and months and months, and you keep telling yourself that you shouldn't be feeling this way, you need to be out there doing this, that, and the other, that's not helping you feel better. That's just shaming yourself based on your level of productivity. And so if you are feeling that way, just look inward and think, what can I do to make myself feel better? Would it be taking a long walk on the beach or in nature? Would it be planning a trip to a cafe and meeting up with a friend? Would it be calling a friend on the phone, or writing out my feelings in a journal, or going out and trying something that's really scary and outside of my comfort zone that's going to help me break out through this layer of fear? So yeah, by following these steps, I hope that it will help you to align yourself more with the law of rhythm and allow yourself to live more authentically with greater acceptance and free from shame, and not always needing to be in perfect balance. We don't have to be in perfect balance. So I hope this has been helpful or inspiring in some way. And as always, if you want to chat about this episode, send me a DM on Instagram. I'll put my handle in the show notes, and TikTok as well. And you can also send me an email. I'll also drop that in the show notes. And if you need help, if you feel like the natural law of rhythm has you in a very down period that you feel like you can't get out of, then please reach out, and I can help you. I can connect you with practitioners that could also help you for your specific needs. Just know that you're not alone in the way that you're feeling, and know that the way that you're feeling is completely natural and a part of what it's like to be in existence in this universe. So thank you for listening, and I will see you on the next episode.